Amandi ngumuntu endikhule kunye naye sathe soluphala sowabini ebumnandini. Ngimthandile uNkosazi kadeni uNomfuneko. Wenze into enqabileyo kakhulu. uNomfuneko bisawuthi yawuchifuna athi Mpumi uDennis esibhedlela. Ndithatha ibhasi kangoko ndiyesibhedlela. Every time then Mpumi thatha ibhasi kangoko esibhedlela. Andifune transport yabantu. Ingxaki yam uzibana ndikapha kakhulu abesibhedlela isibhedlela kufitshane ukude Blowwater. Xa seBlowwater funenda aba transport zifone zayo namoto mos. Andifuna uba ndicela ilift abantu nabadika hayi uthi ngepetrol yam hayi ndithatha ibhasi ndobona apha uDeni. Ndamthanda ke uNomfuneko bethu nandlela mphethe ngayo uDeni. Khange amthathe amse e-old age home. Khange yenze loo nto. Khange adinwe umyeni wakhe. uDeni khange atyise itima amadoda omthina akhe. Kaloku phaya xa siye emtshatweni sinendawo ethi sakohlula kukufa. Loo nto ke uDeni uyenzelo nam ndayenza owam wandishiya nam zange ndityise itima amadoda eva hayi ndahamba nesigqibo sakohlula kukufa. Yandiva kaloku ezi nto zonke zenze indlela efanelekileyo. uDeni bethunana shame ole nice man bethandwa ithandeka futhi basawusawuza kwezi ndawo zimandi nakubradeni nam ke babumza uyabona laa nto babumza awusemandi apha kaloku ndihamba nemisika la minister kaloku ndihamba neminister kaloku nakumkumandi ngothixo nam ndinayo ivelu noko uba ndingumntu wandihamba nomntu yabona nirayi nto ethi ndimthandile bethunana mani mandibulele futhi yazi ngenye imini noDeni banini banginowaqala bangathela phezu kwakho ndathi bonini andiboni umntu ngaphandle kwakho Thixo nyanyani enzekile uba ndizoma phezu koDeni namhlanje akho mandi kakhulu kodwa kubuhlungu kodwa ke usishiyile. Enkosi Nomfuneko enkosi mamkwayi kodwa umyeni akho athi ongena emngcwabeni ngaloo mbazo enkosi kakhulu papa yini.
Premier, Honorable Premier, ndiphuma le ndawo yotyisa itim. Yabona le ndawo yotyisa itim. Kuyacaba sifumana imessage Bishop ba. Yeka nto yotyisa itim. Thank you very much. As we move forward, amongst ourselves, we have also NEC members of the African National Congress, the organization that Upoten belonged to. Amongst our members, I saw Comrade Andile Longisa and Speaker of the Nelson Mandela Metro, Councillor Johnson, and all other councillors. That are here. Thank you very much. We will move on with our program and we will call upon the Mayor of Nelson Mandela Metro, Councillor Babalo Lobish.
Bethu sungakhali mntana ungakhali mntana ungakhali mntana mdala mntana mdala mntana bethu uzunga khali mntana amandla Indaba yawo iyodwa, indaba yawo iyodwa, indaba yawo iyodwa, iyodwa, iyodwa isocialism, iyodwa, iyodwa, iyodwa isocialism. Akekeshi wamagerila, akekeshi wamasoja, akekeshi wamagerila, akekeshi wamasoja. Iyodwa, iyodwa, indaba yawo.
Iyodwa isocialism. Iyodwa, iyodwa.
Indaba yawo.
Iyodwa isocialism. Akekeshi wamagerila.
Indaba yawo.
Akekeshi wamasoja.
Indaba yawo.
Akekeshi wamagerila.
Indaba yawo.
Akekeshi wamasoja.
Indaba yawo.
Iyodwa, iyodwa.
Indaba yawo.
Iyodwa isocialism.
Indaba yawo.
Iyodwa, iyodwa.
Indaba yawo.
Iyodwa
Socialism.
Manda. Nasisipam meango. Nasisipam meango.
Thank you so much. We are here to celebrate the life and times of Utatu Neer. Sorry, program director. Simoshe ubukhulumende apha. Kodwa ke sinento ethi ubukhulumende bobethu. I would like to respectfully acknowledge all mourners who are assembled in this hall to pay their last respect to our pioneering elder in the family of a selfless and dedicated public service servant, Utatu Neer. I also rise on the protocols that have already been laid, program director ahead of me, so as to allow me to say respectfully good morning to all fellow mourners in the room. And I would like once more to convey our sincere and heartfelt condolences to the next of kin, peers, friends, colleagues of Utatu Neer, and all those abachaphazeleka imeko on behalf of the Nelson Mandela community and African National Congress in the region. As the first generation of leaders and members of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature, in the democratic dispensation, Utatu Dennis Neer had an opportunity to put the historic aspirations and ideals of the liberation movement in practice. Utatu Neer was amongst the trail-blazing leaders who faced the difficulties of having to amalgamate the various apartheid administration into one cohesive machinery, which reads from the policy prescripts of our democratic dispensation. We would just imagine how difficult that might have been, knowing that we were not reading from the same page, but they came out well because they were the ones that were establishing government from afresh, and they were able to show us how to run government. This was not an easy task, as they had to transform the diversive anti-transformation ethos of apartheid institutions, as well as reorientate the public servants for functioned or perhaps functional institutions to respond to the needs of the people. His role as an emissary of safety, liaising and transport meant that he was charged with the responsibility to change the perception and the relationship between the community and the police, knowing our history in the country. But he did that with distinction. Hence, today, we are calling our portfolio as community safety, because it's from the framework that they have built since they started in government. As with many of his peers and comrades before him, Tatu Neer's departure marks the end of an era from which something new must arise. I would also like to appeal to the current generation of public servants to take leave from the selflessness, the dedication, and the humanity of Utatu Neer and his pioneering generation. May we continue to pay tribute to him through our conduct and the force of his example. In his memory, may we as politicians, workers and officials in the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality and elsewhere across all spheres of government be challenged to recommit to the basic values and principles which govern public administration as enshrined in Section 195 of our Constitution. Let us all declare that we will promote and maintain a high standard of professional ethics, and let us say that we will use state resources economically and efficiently, and for them to be responsive to the current challenges that are faced by our people. We will double our efforts in his honor to be responsive to the public, and finally, we will continue with efforts, however difficult it might be, so that we achieve a developmental state that is accountable to the people. Kalomazwi sithi lala ngoxolo ubuli qhawe sizawuhlala sikukhumbula. Enkosi.
Thank you very much. So Dolopu, Honorable Babalo Lobish. Kulento, I think the message, your community police forum, community policing. We will remember, Premier, the brutality that was meted out to Utatu Neer, ngexesha eseluvalelweni yabangela into yoba xa esithi take over community safety ube kwisikhalo yoba how is it going to be objective ebengqungquthekiswa kangaka. It was yayikwi headlines. Let me also recognize USG of ANC Veterans League, Umamu Ilva, amongst us, and OPS, Veterans League, and Tato Kamiya. They are all here. General Bobelo and General Nombewe and General Masinda. They are amongst the mourners here. We appreciate your presence. And I will call upon the Cosatu President, President Uzingiswa Losi, to take the stage. Amangwe Violent Leland. And the Timba Okura Uza.
Yani, wewa sevenzi manyanane. Wewa sevenzi manyanane. Wewa sevenzi manyanane. Oh, iyolele hlangano yabasebenzi. Iyolele hlangano yabasebenzi. Oh, iyolele hlangano yabasebenzi. Iyolele hlangano yabasebenzi. Webasebenzi manyanane. Webasebenzi manyanane. Webasebenzi manyanane. Webasebenzi manyanane. Amata kawe to Cosatu yeto saila. Cosatu yeto saila. Cosatu yeto. Cosatu yeto saila. No mas abochwa. No mas abochwa. No mas abochwa. No mas abochwa. Cosatu yeto. Makosa yeto saila. Makusa yeto. Makusa yeto saila. No mas abochwa. No mas abochwa. No mas abochwa. No mas abochwa.
Long live the undying spirit of Comrade Omden. Long live. Long live the undying spirit of Comrade Omden. Long live. Long live the alliance. Long live. Malibongwe. Kama la makhosikazi. Thank you very much. Ndibulele kuwe Zulu. Kokwenene ngathi into ephathiswa amangwevu le. Sibhexeshelwa nguwe kusuka omnye umamngwevu kulandela omnye. Ndibulise ngokuhlonipha uPremier wase Eastern Cape, the home of the legends, uDia the Delicious. Ndibulise uMayor usodolophu weNelson Mandela Bay Municipality, ulobishe umamngwevu. Isithwalandwe utata uOmben, usapho lonke nezalamane zakwaNeeri, i-alliance leadership ekhoyo phakathi kwethu, the founder and former leaders of SACTU and Cosatu, abefundisi. Ndime phakathi kwenu to report to utata uComrade uOmden. Comrade Omden, today I rise not just to mourn, but to report back to you, one of Cosatu founding giants, about the federation you helped shape from the fires of struggle. Comrade Omden, you led workers at Ford Plant, demanded dignity, and fought for justice long before it was fashionable. You helped build Makusa, laid the foundation for NUMSA, and never saw the fight for labor rights as separate from community struggles. Whether it was rejecting the tricameral parliament, leading consumer boycotts, or building alliances with PEPCO and Kwaru, you showed us how workers' power must serve the people. We report back to you, Omden, with pride. Cosatu remains strong, the product of SACTU's revolutionary spirit. Workers today enjoy rights enshrined in law thanks to the battles you helped fight. Millions now benefit from national minimum wage, from the UIF relief and pension reforms. But we report back also with humility, Omden. Unemployment and inequality still haunt our people. Corruption has eaten away at gains we fought for. The alliance needs renewal, and our unity as a movement needs rebuilding. We are not where we should be, but your federation, Cosatu, remains in the trenches. We are raising the banner of working class power, guided by the Freedom Charter and your legacy. Comrade Dennis, you were more than a trade unionist. You were a servant of the people, an MEC, an organizer, a pillar of the mass democratic movement. And as we mark 70 years of SACTU, our predecessor, the 70 years of Freedom Charter, and 40 years of Cosatu's existence, we are recommitting ourselves to the vision you held of one industry, one union, one country, one federation. Omden, your shift may be over, but your legacy is our command. Hamba kahle qhawe lamaqhawe. Mandla. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much to President Cosatu. Now we're going to receive the message from the spouse, Mama, ubesigcinele tata. But the message is of the kuthandokazi. Ndizawucela intoba xa kufundwa le message sonke sime ngenyawo. Uthandokazi.
Manibulise egameni lomfeli nomvukelo wami uYesu Kristu, amen. Lo umyalezo ndinawo ndiwuthunywa ngumfaki oba ndimfundele. Muhla kwana ndikubonile ubulaleka zinhlungu, ndingakwazi ukukuthathela. Ndiyambulela uThixo ngeminyaka ebesikunye myeni wami. Ubungumyeni kum, ungutata ebantwaneni bethu, uyinto yonke kwifamily yethu. Ndibulela kwenzeke ngokwezibhambathiso zethu zokuba sakuhlulwa kukufa. Hamba ke mhlakwane, hamba ke Modibanga, ndikukhukhulula ngenhliziyo yami yonke. Uphumlo olungapheliyo uzomphe lona bawo, isuka kunkosikazi yakho umfaki.
Thank you very much. We are going to call the South African Police brass band before Oprime ends eulogy. While I bendizawucela ke desingalomzuzu salungisa lo mcimbi ukhaba ufake gwethu kucaca uba noko ubhotene bengelogwala.
Sizobashiya thina, sizobashiya abaza, siphumele kwamanye amazwe, selelona, sekselelona, izwe lakithi, izwe lesa. Tulele mama, stulele mama, nobody fele mina, nobody fele mina, seksele luna, izwe lakithi, izwe lesa. Stulele mama, Zubandi file mina, seksele luna, izwe lakithi, izwe South Africa. Oh ya, oh yelele ma sekuzokhale pazuka. Oh ya, oh yelele ma sekuzokhale pazuka. Sesifikile thina bafana bomkhondo sekuzokhale pazuka yele. Sesifikile thina bafana bomkhondo sekuzokhale pazuka yele. Tambo ya, oh yelele ma sekuzokhale pazuka yele. Tambo, oh yelele ma sekuzokhale pazuka yele. Sesifikile thina bafana bomkhondo sekuzokhale pazuka yele. Sesifikile thina bafana bomkhondo sekuzokhale pazuka yele. Tambo, oh yelele ma sekuzokhale pazuka.
Thank you very much. Upremier unengoma afuna uyicula. Thank you. Ikhona la afuna uyicula nilandele yena ke ngoku. Over to you.
Anengamapolisa lo bekuthiwa ngizaphakanyiswa ngamapolisa. Kodwa ndiyaqonda ke manje iziphakamele ngoba ndithanda kwangoku umuntu ebethetha bebebamba ixesha. Yenyamaza wenyamaza 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 ihlale hlatheni ihlale hlatheni wenyamaza 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 ihlale hlatheni ihlale hlatheni wenyamaza amandla. Long live the spirit of Comrade Dan, long live. Yegogote tambo. Yegogote. 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 Yegogote kanda. Viva ANC, viva, thank you very much. Family ngofulumende family. Family ngamapolisa family. Thank you very much, Comrade Gift. Amapolisa besizama ulinda nini. Umfundisi ulindwa ngeculo. Thank you very much. Program Director, Comrade Tony Duba, the Chair of Chairs in our provincial legislature, the chaplains, yonke, ikhokelwa namhlanje kumfundisi umama wamapolisa ukunene. Qaphela abefundisi bonke abakhoyo ibona nebishop yamawesile kwesi sithili sikuso. Abulela amadiba ukubona abefundisi bonke ke bemvaba ngemvaba. The ministers present, deputy ministers, MECs, the executive mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay, Councillor Lobisha, the MPs, MPLs, and all councillors, Alliance leadership here present today, led by the President of Cosatu, Umamgwev, Comrade Losi, Chiwokuba zikhona National Executive Committee members, the African National Congress, ndiqaphela ke uMamgwev kuba ke sekwathethwa nge-additional members. Isithwalandwe uPhopho ngokwakhe omben kwakunye ne-veterans zonke ezikhoyo namhlanje. The beloved family Amhlakwane, the family katata Dennis Neer, the Director General, HODs, all generals that are here, Lobes, General Lobes, and Nezinye generals, Bezikhankanyiwe, the entire SABS family, also led by their acting provincial commissioner, General Gqeberha, and all the deputies. Comrades, friends, fellow freedom fighters, bantu base Nelson Mandela, nephondo lonke molweni. I rise, comrades, today to pay homage to the revolutionary par excellence with a heavy heart yet immense pride that I stand before you to pay this special tribute to one of the bravest sons of our soil. Indeed, an indomitable leader, a freedom fighter, a people's servant, and a builder of our democratic state, Utata, Comrade Dennis Neer. To the bereaved family, we are here to assure you that even during this difficult time, we are with you as we were with you before his departure. Sililifuke lamanqina lozokucunzula inhlungu eninayo sizonomeleza niyazi into okokuba bebukhona ubomi before utata uNeer buzaba khona ubomi post ubomi bukatata uDennis Neer. Kamnandi, it looks like unishiye nezixhobo zobomi nizawukwazi ukumelana nale meko kuba unifundisile ba umzabalazo yintoni kwaye akukho nto ilula yonke into iyazatyalazela. Shortcut, it's a problem. Kuwe ke mama uNeer nabantwana ndiyafuna ukuthi ke kulamazwi ebethethwa ngumfundisi apha xa ebeshumayela ndingqine kuwo ngelithi indeed xa niswela amandla zuzani amandla ngakumbi kuba lelo themba eliza kuninika indlela yophakama nikwazi ukubroadenisha ihorizon zobomi benu. Bantu base Nelson Mandela izolo besilapha nosekela mongameli we-African National Congress nokwangusekela mongameli welizwe kumcimbi ukukhunjuzwa kwabantu nokukhumbuzana ngendlela esiyihambileyo ukukhusela amalungelo abantu nelizwe esilakhe lisekelezelwa phezu kweziseko eziluqilima zamalungelo abantu. Ibililanga le reflection, but also it was a day for us to say, how are we navigating challenges before us? As Owar Tambo once said in 1977 eAngola, into kokuba masilinde singacimba kunzima ukuzabalazela inkululeko, kodwa sizawuba nomnqa wokuxakana nobomi sawukufumana ithuba lokuphatha. Sikuloo meko ke namhlanje yokuzamazamana nokuphatha ilizwe, even if we are in 30 years. Bubunzima utata Owar Tambo awakhe wabubona ngaphambili. Ibona umnqakwana apha namhlanje. Enkosi izidulu ngokuba ndikubona ungena. Wakwandifundisa into enzima kakhulu. Xa ke nobomi pha ungusekela sihlalo kakucakwa yonke imihla funeka kube shushu. Wathetha into yanye. Sakuphinda uthethe loo nto. Futhi ndayazi into kwatyeni mandibe nguTyalbeck le nkomo iqhela ubotshwa ingene edyokweni ingakhalazi. Wathi unobhala yintsika yomkhunyu. Wonke umuntu ofuna ukosulela nofuna uthetha into kulula ukuthi unobhala uthe. That was a serious counseling that has made me to appreciate and understand the huge responsibility that we have when we are elected in such position. Comrades, as we gather here in remembrance of the painful tragedies of Bisho and Langa massacres, we find it fitting and just to also celebrate the life of a comrade who stood at the very front line of resistance against the apartheid regime, also who gave everything, his youth, his strength, his health, his family, and his wisdom to the fight for justice, freedom, and human dignity. In him, we are inheriting what he has bequeathed to us in understanding what sacrifice means, what selflessness means. Born in 1948 and raised here in the former Port Elizabeth, now Gqeberha, Comrade Dennis Neer cut his political teeth on the shop floors of Ford Motor Company, as it was said earlier. Utata ebelapha esasitoko esidala ke sitoko esenyani esiya umvile naye ngokebethetha mane qobisa nomama enye indlela ezithile zalapha emhlabeni isitoko esidala isitoko esenyani ungezi mntana nami namhlanje kuzofika utata omntana. It was there in that belly of capitalist exploitation that Utatu Neer discovered his political voice and, more importantly, his purpose. As a shop steward, he didn't just represent workers, Comrade Gqeberha. He organized them. He inspired them. He led them into a defiant action and from the factory floors. And he stepped boldly into the broader struggle for the liberation. As Secretary or General Secretary of the Union at that time, Makusa, Utata Neer did not separate labor issues from community struggles. He saw the exploitative wages and poor conditions in the workplace as the extension of the apartheid state. That is why he linked armed struggle with community organizations like PEPCO, and why he stood shoulder to shoulder with the civic and political leadership of that time. People abafana no Tata Uthozamile Botha, nobhuti sisanjikelana namanye amacomrade amaninzi ebe ekhankanywa kule ndawo. Kwakulula ke, not that we anticipated that Comrade Gqeberha now, Cosatu as our ally and the federation of our progressive affiliates would be dominated by a public sector union, and ANC now will be a governing party and therefore umqashi. So these are serious contradictions that as we compare this dispensation, we also look at the difficulty that Owari Tambo spoke about in 1977. President Neer was more than a labor leader. He was a revolutionary, as I've said, through his involvement with the United Democratic Front. He rallied thousands to boycott the apartheid state sham institution. He campaigned vigorously in the Millions signature campaign. He stood firm against the tricameral parliament. And when the time came to intensify the armed struggle, President took up his rightful place in the underground ranks of Umkhonto Wesizwe. Comrades, let us not forget the bravery it took for Utata Dennis Neer to smuggle arms, to smuggle the political literature and cadres across borders. He was a trusted link in the chain that connected the oppressed inside the country with the leadership in exile. Many comrades owe their lives and training to his courage. His clandestine trips to Lesotho, his ability to organize cells, and his commitment to arming and politically educating our people. At that level, there was a high level of political consciousness. Abantu bebekwazi uqale bacinge baqeqe phambi kokuba bathethe. Not the way we are living lives today post 1994. When the state of emergency was declared, he was among the first to be arrested, detained without trial, tortured, hospitalized, and yet he remained unbroken, even as the apartheid machinery tried to crush his spirit. It only strengthened his resolve. He paid the price of freedom with his own body. The scars he bore were a living testimony of the brutality of the regime, but also of the unshakable commitment of our liberation fighters. His appointment in 1994 as the MEC of Safety and Security in the Eastern Cape Provincial Government marked the transformation from the revolutionary to a public servant. He served again in 1999 as the MEC for Safety, Liaising and Transport. In those roles, Comrade Dennis Neer helped to knit together the fragmented governance structures inherited from the homelands of Ciskei and Transkei and the former Republic of South Africa. His leadership helped bring coherence to our provincial administration and laid the foundation for the capable state we continue to build today. Nami ke ndifikile pha kwaRhulumente pha ngo-2001 ndiqashwa yenye indoda apha andizoyichaza uba ngubani eofisini yayo. So kwakwakukho iiprogram ezaziqinile ke ngoku nazo ze-cabinet outreach. Ezaa program zimane ziphuma kuzawuyiwa ke phaa kwezaa ntontoni xa kubuywa kube kwi-report back phaa ko-5 no-6 uhlala u-MEC ntontoni. Phaa ko-7 sizawufumana i-call from our boss ethi niphi nithi ndincokola ntoni noStofile noDennis Neer ndigqibile naba ndikalobe bephumile kulaa nto besidibene kuyo. So he wants to have time with us as his younger people and his staff. So then I realized that ubu MEC nezi zikhundla sinazo zizinto zethutyana, but you are a human being, and how you mold and build other people is also to have a social aspect of it, to make sure that young people are properly inculcated. So Utata Neer was so instrumental in promoting community participation in policing, establishing community policing forum, and advocating for human rights-based safety strategies. He turned the values he fought for in the trenches into tangible policies and institutions in government. He understood that political freedom without safety, without dignity, and without economic opportunity was incomplete. That's what we are experiencing now, almost every day in Nelson Mandela, how our people are living under fear. Fellow comrades, as we mourn his passing, let us reflect on the profound lessons that Comrade Dennis Neer's life offers us today. At the time when our country faces deep social and economic challenges, crime, corruption, poverty, youth unemployment, we are called to channel the same resolve that defined Comrade Dennis Neer. We must fight corruption, comrades, with the same clarity of purpose he brought to the struggle. We must confront crime, not just with the law enforcement, but by rebuilding our communities, investing in our youth, and tackling the root causes of violence and despair. Sixakene namaginza kwiilokishi zethu namhlanje. Ubuye ahambe elokishini awukho safe, nasemini nasebusuku. Sixakene nee-gangsters in our northern areas. It can't be right. So communities must rise to the occasion. We will never have police that will mend every street and every household. Now, abona amapolisa ngawela, and amapolisa are doing excellent job. Nangu General Ncaca, ongu District Commissioner wala, they are doing excellent job. We are arresting criminals in Nelson Mandela almost every day. But it looks like the problem that we're dealing with is bit chronic, bit embedded, bit systemic, because it revolves around family units most of the time. So it's a problem enkulu bantu base Nelson Mandela yabantu aba insura abantu kuba befuna ubakesha, which makes it very difficult. It's a serious organized crime that we're dealing with. That's why here in Nelson Mandela, in the last few months, we hosted more than 10 international gatherings, incident-free, because they are happening ngapha kwelicala. But kunzima ngapha no organizer umncwabo ubeka kwakho intende kuko abantu abanazofika bathi bazofuna lonto. Police are here. We have deployed all resources of police to make sure that we're dealing with that. Recently, Minister of Police has given us an additional capacity of 300 policemen and women to reinforce the team, but also we have got all the specialized unit of police, TRT, NIU, etc., to deal with this issue of crime. But we can stop this crime tomorrow if the community stand up, if the community stop clean the streets as we have been doing it before. We must address the poverty and unemployment with bold and transformative policies, as Mayor was saying. The Eastern Cape has vast potential in agriculture, the ocean's economy, infrastructure, and manufacturing. I had a meeting yesterday afternoon with Amabuto, discussing around the same issues with good proposals and ideas, Madiba. The biggest challenge that we have, Madiba, here and Bramcaya, is that the catalytic projects that should have been done in this province, particularly here over the last 10 years, 20, are not done. They are lost in the equation. I went to Cape Town in the oil and gas to meet investors over the last few days to talk to a number of issues. To my surprise was also to learn that even the Umthombo project, your project, is still there. It can be done, but it needed to be done differently from that it would have been done. So I met with the South African National Petroleum Company, the new entity that is being formed, even to make sure that the LNG, the bulk terminal that we've been talking about, it is done. We are one again. Sometimes and the reason that the LNG 20 billion project was actually not done here at some point when I fought with another minister who's no longer a minister was that They cannot take two big projects, Umthombo and LNG, in one place. And I'm asking the same question. If you are confronted with a situation that Transnet Madiba, 70% of Transnet is in KZN, 70%. All other provinces are sharing the other lesser percentage. And now Transnet take a decision to build a strong building here called Mendi. That building stays there for almost 10 years unoccupied. Headquarters of TNPA. Akukho movement. When we forced that movement to happen, organized by business chambers in KZN and all other people to actually reject that. So I talked to the minister the other month, the current one, and say, xa kuthiwa abasebenzi Comrade Gqeberha isakhawu ithi abasebenzi abazukwazi ukusuka eKZN naseGauteng baze eGqeberha, where headquarters are now, the TNPA, because people are resisting that. It was the kind of life, whatever. Ndiyababuza, nike nababala oMantshingilane, no Clark, ne PA base Eastern Cape abalapha eSouth Africa. Nithi baphila njani bona kweza ndawo? So I'm saying we've got a serious battle that we must come together and unite in ensuring that we are doing. And maybe Madiba that finally, ingathi nidena ifumana this 2 billion or 7 billion yalendlela ekufuneka isuke eGauteng ye-train is the up. Because Ford said in investing 15 billion in Gauteng, they want to take their cars here and they are exporting their car 80% of their production. So they want to take it here to de-risk the N3 corridor. That everybody seems to find it easy. Every time things come, it's easy to take that particular route. It needs us to stand up and be vocal. Stop fighting about these funny other things. This or that in this funeral. Focus on real issues. Build our province. Let's be coherent. One message. Not that this country is about the survival of the fittest and the elimination of the weakest. No. But this country must be run properly. This country must be run evenly. Yes, it's our disadvantage probably to be one or two provinces that are 1,000 kilometers away from the economic hub of the country. All other provinces are in 500 radius. It's easy to do business with Johannesburg. Kuti, we're where we are, and we're happy where we are. We possess an unparalleled potential that has never been tapped before to be this kind of a food basket and an alternative to the economic growth of the country. We keep on saying, let's grow the economy. The question is, where are these niche? Where are we going to grow this economy from? Otata, Dennis Neer, and many other comrades fought for that, and they would have loved to see these many young people who are unemployed being employed, these many SMMEs to be hard at work. 2016, sabanengxaki apha into ekuthiwa i-coalition. Ndayivakela ndiphithizela apha kuthiwa i-GNU nayo ethethwayo. Yinto ekhoyo eright ayizutshintsha. We can work within and see how best. uMadiba uyibone kakuhle ngoku bezakwenza ibudget. Yampilisa, yamthoba imnyusa la mcimbi we-GNU. So we need, from 2016 moving, when we lost the control of this Nelson Mandela, ezi zinto sinazo ngoku townships zamaginza ziqale ngela xesha when people were dispensing patronage to SMMEs, creating all these funny things in order to protect their own space. We've got to fight that thing back and make sure that the National Democratic Revolution is on track, even here in Nelson Mandela. Comrades, Kalemeni Katatu Dennis Neer must understand that factionalism is a betrayal of the sacrifices made by his generation and countless others. Internal battles, personal ambitions, careerism, and leadership contests that ignore the people's suffering are not just distraction. They are acts of sabotage. Today, in honor of Tatu Dennis Neer, I call on all ANC members in the Eastern Cape, nationally and everywhere, that members of the ANC belong to a branch. Go to a branch, raise your issues in a branch in order to help the ANC to unite. Let us renew our leadership responsibilities, our mission and our values. Let us rebuild the movement as a servant of the people. Let us restore our moral compass and find again the courage to lead. Let every member and the loyal support of the ANC stop, comrades, using the public platforms to lambast the ANC. There is no member of the ANC that is perfect. There is no leader of the ANC that is perfect. So we must accept that and understand. And elected leadership needs to be supported for it to be able to rise to the occasion and understand the responsibilities it has. So I'm just calling upon everybody here, ndiyayazi siyayithanda apha eNelson Mandela kakhulu into osebenzisa imingcwabo to lambast the ANC sibe sisithi siyayokha. And when it comes to elections, you go to same people that you were lambasting the ANC, hayi nayo ingathi Satan obhetele yivotele. Let's stop that, comrades. It's not right. It doesn't do any good for the ANC. Let's work together to build the ANC. ANC is a home to all of us. And let's make sure that we are constructive in this renewal journey we are pursuing. The road, comrades, to 2026 begins today. Let our preparations for the municipal elections be our tribute to the son of the soil. Let us reclaim Nelson Mandela Metro with a resounding victory, not for power's sake, but because our people deserve a government that works, that listens, and delivers them. For the last 10 years, Minister of Finance, we have been struggling to build houses here. At some point, we returned more than $500 million. That was meant to build houses. And people are without houses here in Nelson Mandela because of the same coalition government that has always been about people pushing their own selfish individual interests. Let us do it, comrades, in memory of Dennis Neer, who gave everything so that we might live free. Let us fight to build communities that are safe, economies that are inclusive, and institutions that are clean and ethical. Let his legacy live not in statue or slogans, but in our action, our policies, our service, and our solidarity. Let us live here not with tears alone, but with renewed fire in our bellies and courage in our hearts. Let us say with one voice, comrades, Hamba kakuhle Mhlakwana, you have run your race, you have kept the faith, the baton is in our hands now, and we will not let you down. Amandla. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Premier Oscar Mabuyane.